This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on World Athletics Day, government initiatives for sports development in India. The participants are G. Rajaraman, sports analyst, and Rajesh Lake, Akashvani correspondent.
Athletes the world over need to be celebrated for their hard work and dedication to the sport. To mark the importance of athletes and sportspersons globally, World Athletics Day 2023 is being celebrated today. Raj, what is the significance of the World Athletics Day and what is the theme of this year's World Athletics Day?
All those years ago, the International Amateur Athletics Federation was formed. Today is the foundation day for the world body. It's now called World Athletics. So they mark this day, the birthday of a major international sporting federation is marked as World Athletics Day. And it's not so much symbolic as it is a reminder for all of us that every single day is actually a World Athletics Day. It is one of the primary sports, mother sport disciplines, along with gymnastics and swimming. And athletics is followed immensely. And in India, now we've got superstars coming out like Neeraj Chopra and Avinash Sable and so many others. The significance hits us all even more, even though it's been several years since World Athletics has started observing May 7 as World Athletics Day.
And the World Athletics Day was established by the late Primo Nibiolo, the then president of the International Association of Athletics Federation. Raj, what is the theme of this year's World Athletics Day?
Athletics for All, a new beginning is the theme of the year that's been chosen by World Athletics. To my mind, Athletics for All has been the theme all along because the International Federation is not just concerned about elite sport, it is also looking at grassroots sport. It is looking at becoming one of the most followed sport in the world. I was at the World Athletic Championship last year in Eugene in the United States of America, and I saw more than 200 national flags being flown in the stadium there. No other sport has such following, but they want to become more popular because they know they are losing out to some other sport that are fast catching up in terms of popularity, in terms of television appeal, and in terms of mass appeal. So they want more participation, and that is probably the reason why they've chosen Athletics for All, a new beginning, as the theme for this year.
Okay, Rajan, also to promote the importance of athletics as a sport and encourage young and school children to take up athletics, World Athletics Day is being promoted as inclusivity in sports. Would you elaborate on that?
It's very important that all sport is inclusive. It is not based so much on exclusive domains for, say, males or females. Now they have introduced a third category as well in some of the marathons around the world where transgender can take part and win prizes. There is inclusivity in terms of having para-athletes as well as part of the fraternity. So I think they want sport to be accessible to everybody. Track and field sport, they are finding new ways to innovate. They will probably have high jump competition in malls, for example, where in a small space you can have a good competition. They're looking at creating events of 100 meters and 150 meters on public roads. Just spread a little carpet there and have athletes run on those, sprint along that. So they are looking at including everybody, not just elites. They want to focus on grassroots where more and more people can play sport and enjoy the benefits of being an athlete of track and field sport.
Raj, sports play a significant role in the development of an individual's physical and mental health, as well as promoting a sense of discipline, teamwork and sportsmanship. It is a fact that the Indian government has recognized the importance of sports and has implemented numerous schemes and initiatives to promote and encourage sports at all levels, from grassroots, as you mentioned, to the professional level. Would you elaborate on some of the schemes that the government has taken to encourage sports among the young people?
The first thing that comes to mind, Rajesh, is the Khelo India scheme. It is an all-encompassing scheme, not just the games that they're organized every year for youth or at the university level, but Khelo India, the scheme itself, encompasses even infrastructure development. It promotes sport for women. It promotes sport for children. So as a grassroots program, Khelo India is one of the hallmarks. There is no doubt in my mind that it is ushering in change. One of the highlights of the Khelo India scheme is the selection of more than 3,000 athletes for scholarships every year. They get 10,000 rupees a month as out-of-pocket allowance, which is a lot of money for people from rural areas, from economically weaker sections, and their training is taken care of. Then, of course, you've got the National Centers of Excellence run by the Sports Authority of India and the National Institute of Sports in Patiala. Athletes are chosen to get to these national centers of excellence. Their stay is taken care of, their food and lodging is taken care of, they get the best of coaches possible, and they get sports science support as well. This is how India is going to grow as a sporting country. Of course, we've got 7 medals in the Olympic Games the last time, 70 medals in the Asian Games the last time, and we've done really well in the Commonwealth Games as well. Now, the government wants more athletes to come and take part in sport. They want to create a base for youngsters to feel that sport can be a viable career option. So the broader the base, the better the cream at the top is going to be, and therefore the government is very, very keen on promoting Khelo India scheme. And for the elites, you've got the Target Olympic Podium scheme. Now, take athletes like Neeraj Chopra, for example. He has been training in Loughborough in England, then he moved to Turkey. Previously, he was in Chula Vista in California. Now, his stay is taken care of by the government of India. Before the Tokyo Olympics, close to 4 crore rupees was spent on Neeraj Chopra. The government looking after both the elites at the top and the grassroots schemes. You know you're in for a winner, and that is why India is looking up as a sporting nation now, Rajesh.
So if you are a sports person and you are at the grassroots level, so what you have just said that the entry level for them should be the Khelo India program. Is that the way they should go about? And from there on get into the national sports academies or, as you mentioned, the Target Olympic Podium. But for those young people who won't get into athletics or sports of whichever according to their caliber, the entry level has to be the Khelo India program, or is there something else they need to do? What should a person who's interested do to get into the next level of training?
The Athletics Federation of India, which is the National Sports Federation, conducts a basic program called the National Inter-District Junior Athletics Meet. I have watched a couple of these meets, and I can tell you the energy levels at these meets is so high. It's unbelievable. 600 districts send 10 to 12 athletes from each district. So you've got about 6,000 athletes under 14 and under 16 taking part in a variety of events. From there, they get to play the junior national. The best go on to play the junior national. It's like a qualification for the Khelo India program. If you succeed at the junior national, you're invited to compete in the Khelo India youth game, and if you do well there, you're marked for scholarship. I think one of the first steps will be then for athletes to look at the entry-level event called the National Inter-District Junior Athletics Meet, and then get to the junior national and the youth national, and then play the Khelo India youth games as well. In other sport, you have state championships, and then from there you move on to play the national championship for the juniors, and from there they get invited to take part in the Khelo India youth games. So play for your state, play the junior national first, then qualify for Khelo India, and then do well there to get the scholarship.
So Raj, if you could elaborate further on the Khelo India scheme.
Rajesh, I just spoke to you about the competitive part of Khelo India. The government has now introduced Khelo India Women's Leagues just to ensure that more and more women take part in sport, that they get competitive exposure. In sport like weightlifting, archery and swimming, they have introduced the Khelo India Women's League, hockey of course as well. So now women get more opportunities to play competitive sport. But beyond competitive sport, I think the most interesting aspect is how the government has given accreditation to a number of academies around the country as the Khelo India Academy. Now, if you are a Khelo India Academy and you have enough infrastructure and are able to get the right kind of resources as coaches and support staff, you are recognized as the Khelo India Academy. I think this is the game changer. This is where our athletes are going to learn the basics right and then move to the national camp when they succeed as juniors and as seniors. I think the focus is on creating a wider base so that people do not have to leave their homesteads. Previously, you had only a handful of national level academies. For example, the NIS in Patiala or the Sai academies in Bangalore or Kolkata or Lucknow or Bhopal or Sonipat and places like Rohtak. You needed to move away from your home. Suppose you were an athlete from Odisha, you had to move to maybe Sai, Kolkata. But now you don't need to, because you can train in your own Khelo India accredited academy nearby, and therefore you don't leave your home. So socially as well, and from a psychologically safety perspective, I think it is a great game changer to have more academies accredited. So there will be a standardization of coaching patterns, and if we can focus more on producing the right kind of coaches at this level, we will have a fantastic base wide enough for us to be able to get that cream on top and become one of the sporting nations in the world.
And what about the Sports Authority of India? What role does it play to nurture talent?
It is the field arm of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sport. It takes care of all the programs of the ministry. It looks after a number of national centers of excellence. It has promoted a culture where sports science is respected, where sports science is given the kind of space that is needed in this country, and it has got direct interaction with athletes now because it runs the Target Olympic Podium scheme for the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sport. It deals with a lot of national sports federations and controls the annual calendar for training and competition that they have to fill up, so that there is a structured coaching program and competitive exposure that the government takes care of through the Sports Authority of India. It plays a very vital role. It plays the role of the catalyst, and it can make a big change to how we look at sport in this country.
You mentioned the Target Olympic Podium scheme, in which, if I'm not mistaken, Bajrang Punia also was included, and he won a bronze medal at the 2018 World Wrestling Championships and silver at the 2019 World Wrestling Championship. How does this scheme promote, especially those who have kind of reached a higher level? What do you do in this scheme? How does it encourage people to aim at the Olympics or the big ticket championships?
Let's look wrestling as a target sport for this question that you just asked. You've got a number of athletes who are Khelo India talent. Basically, they get the 10,000 rupees a month scholarship and they get some training money if they're training in a Khelo India academy. Now, if you have got to a certain level, if you've got the attention of the talent spotters in terms of being medal potential at the international level, then you are selected to the Target Olympic Podium scheme, where you get 50,000 rupees a month as pocket allowance. Apart from that, all your expenses are taken care of. You are a very special athlete if you get picked on the Target Olympic Podium, and you get every support that you ask for. Someone like PV Sindhu, for example, who is part of the Target Olympic Podium scheme, gets to take her personal physiotherapist along. Now, when you have got your own physio along with you, your confidence level goes up because you know you're not looking at shared resources. You've got your own physiotherapist, you've got your own trainer, you've got your own coach. Then you plan your day accordingly, and then you're able to go out and perform really well. So the Government of India understood that at the top, athletes need every bit of support and every bit of help that they can extend them, whether it's in terms of training overseas before a big competition, whether it's finding the right coach for them, whether it's finding the right physiotherapist for them, or whether it is funding their travel overseas and stay overseas for competition. The Government of India takes care of that through the Target Olympic Podium scheme. I know, for example, that the last 4 or 5 years, every Olympic cycle, India spends about 100 crore rupees on a handful of athletes because it believes that they can go on to win Olympic medals for India. This is what the truth is. Target Olympic Podium scheme. The focus is on trying to improve India's performance in the Olympic Games.
So what do you do about the mindset of the parents per se? Because for them, sports is cricket, or sports is tennis, because that's the great earner for the person who is into that sport. How does the government, or how can the school or the grassroots level encourage the talent that the child has instead of pushing him towards such sports which are very famous?
Rajesh, in the last 7 or 8 years, things have changed a lot. The perception that it's only cricket or kabaddi more recently that brings in money has changed. There are role models across disciplines now. In boxing, you had Mary Kom, so more and more youngsters took to boxing. In weightlifting, you now have Mirabai Chanu, who's an Olympic silver medalist and got world championship as well. So there are youngsters who always took part in sport like boxing, wrestling, weightlifting, archery, shooting. I think we have become a diverse nation as far as Olympic sport is concerned. We are no longer just a cricket country. More and more youngsters are looking at different avenues where they can excel. So you have people switching sport because they believe they can do well, and this is what the change in mindset. I have seen it happen in the last 7 or 8 years.
I'm certain that going forward, Indian government schemes for sports will continue to boost athletes and the sports in India. On that note, Mr. Rajaraman, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Rajesh.
You are listening to a discussion on World Athletics Day, Government Initiatives for Sports Development in India. The participants were G. Rajaraman, Sports Analyst, and Rajesh Lake, Akashvani Correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 92890 94044.